Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Larson, for looking out for me. I appreciate that, my good friend. And thank you all for being here today to talk through some of these issues that are so important for everyday Americans. You know, today's hearing obviously is critically important, as both the CBO and the trustees have, on their most recent assessment, projected that Social Security's trust fund will be unable to pay full retirement benefits starting in 2033. According to the projections, that means that tens of millions of seniors and their families who rely on the programs would experience immediate benefit cuts. Unfortunately, a lot of those folks are already experiencing cuts thanks to the sky-high inflation that's 19.9% since January 2021. And rising prices hurt those on a fixed income, and just like so many of our seniors. You know, a key driver of the inflation is the uncontrolled and insatiable desire to spend. Our debt now stands at $34.6 trillion and grows by $100,000 a second. Simply unsustainable. Even if we got our spending under control in Congress, we still have a problem. And discretionary spending, actually the spending that we get to vote on as members, counts for less than 30% of all government spending. And CBO projects that Social Security will eclipse all discretionary spending, including defense, by 2029. So if we're going to make real changes to preserve Social Security, we have to talk about responsible reform. I know in an election year, there's a lot of rhetoric about how do you cut Social Security, but I think we all can agree we don't want seniors to suffer through that process. And the truth is, if we put our heads in the sand and do nothing now, it's American seniors who will suffer the most. As it stands now, in the next decade, if no action is taken, Social Security recipients will start receiving 75 cents on the dollar when insolvency is reached. I want to talk a little bit about, you know, what's the impact and how are we being impacted. And something that's obviously having an impact on Social Security is illegal immigration. Since President Biden took office, there have been more than 2.15 million encounters on the southwest border alone, and we can't be sure how many people have crossed into our country. Mr. Goss, how do the Social Security trustees account for the impact of illegal immigrations in your assumptions, and has it been accounted for in the current trustees report?
Absolutely, we always have. We look at total immigration, both immigration subject to the legal limits and also undocumented immigration coming into the country. By the way, the undocumented are generally looked at as people who come across the border without documentation. Many of these people come to the country and eventually become legal permanent residents, or may have children while they're here who will then be citizens. That actually contributes positively to the economy and to Social Security. So on the bottom line, really, immigration of all forms is actually a positive in the realm that we're in now, where the birth rates in the country are as low as they are. So immigration is actually a positive.
It's positive in the short term before those individuals start taking benefits, right?
Well, it's positive. Well, it's positive also in the long term, because if we have more people coming into the country, whether they're initially undocumented or not, if they come in their 20s or 30s, which is generally the age range for new immigrants, if they have children, then that adds to the future population. It adds to the growth of our population, which is very much a positive.
Right, which, I mean, we're a country of immigrants, so we want to continue to have, legal immigration that has an impact and be able to come out of that shadow economy. Do you take into account any dealings with how much of that folks that have come here illegally and not had a legal right to cross the border, that are more likely working in the shadow economy, that they're paid cash under the table, in which case they wouldn't be captured as far as being able to pay payroll taxes?
If people are literally paid cash, then of course there's going to be no record of that towards benefits or towards their paying in payroll taxes. However, in many cases where people are either undocumented or have come on a temporary visa and overstay it, they're not legal permanent residents. In many cases, those individuals will, through their employers, still be paying payroll taxes that go into the trust fund, and very likely they will never receive benefits. Yep. So in addition to the possibility of their having children on our shores, there's a possibility of that kind of immigration actually having a positive. We had a little actuarial note back in 2013 that walks through this in some detail.
Yeah. Well, I'm about out of time, but I don't know, Dr. Swigel, did you have anything that you could included and talked about your assumptions.
Oh, okay. No, just the same thing, that we're looking carefully at immigration and the share of the immigrants who are paying into the system and the share who are collecting benefits. So it's something we're working on carefully right now.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Chairman, thank you for your indulgence, and I'm out of time. I'd like to ask some more questions, but I will yield back. Thank you.